It's your post-match. It's Everton 0, Nottingham Forest 2. No sooner have we been up, happy, 3 draws against 3 of the biggest sides in the Premier League. Everton have just been done by Nottingham Forest in a dreadful performance just after Christmas, a couple of days before New Year. Mosey's with me, I've got Flush with me, I've got Keith with me, and Maggie's going to get involved as well in a second. Mo, you haven't got long. Tell me what happened there.
It's mad how we found our level, and it was Champions League football, playing against Chelsea and City and Arsenal obviously suited us, but the ultimate issue with Everton is that if you ask the team to play football, we simply have not got the answer. And we found this out a few weeks ago against Brentford when all of the impetus was on us to create a football match, and we just can't do it. We simply cannot do it, and it's because the manager we have has absolutely no interest in achieving that. And it's dull. We are now closing the year on, what is it? How many wins? 7 or 8?
8 in 39 league games.
In a calendar year, which is absolutely pitiful. There can't be an Evertonian alive now, surely, who can convince me that they are enjoying this anymore, because it is the same weak, limp, idealist football that we see every single week. And the game plan is evident. We're going to try and be organised and be a little bit horrible against teams who don't like it, which we've seen in recent weeks. And we're going to win set pieces and try and bully teams in the opposition 18-yard box. And when it doesn't happen, or when you've got teams who are equally well organised like today and are willing to stand up at you, and they've got some big lads themselves, you'll get absolutely no joy. And sadly, when this team does go 1 and unfortunately 2-0 down today, we just have not got the answer in terms of how to break down an opposition back line. And I think other teams can see that now. And the thing that will always play in our favour against Chelsea, City, Arsenal, all those sides is that there is so much emphasis on them having to win games, is that there will be occasions where it opens up. We'll set up 2 lines of 4, 5, 6, whatever we can put in there. Sean Dyche playing a low block will always work, but when you ask that team to expand and use a little bit of initiative, it is simply not there. And I know it's proper alehouse just to look at a team and say what do they work on in the training pitch, etc. But I honestly do look at that and think that there can't be much tactical input from Monday to Friday in terms of when we get on the ball, where are players moving, where are we passing the ball, what is the plan. And I think for years we've said that Everton's build-up play looks slow and laboured, and we really have to tirelessly work our way up the pitch. And I genuinely think that is because, from a day job point of view, we don't really work on that. God forbid we do work on moving the ball up the pitch, because it's not something that we're working well on. I'm bored, if I'm being honest. I'm really, really bored of knowing that this is not the answer. I totally understand people saying we need to get into Bramley Moore in the Premier League. Sean Dyche will probably keep us up. There are probably 3 worse teams, etc., etc. And I totally agree with all this. But my God, we've only got 1 chance at supporting a football team ever. We have to want for more than this. And there's no sense of entitlement here. I've never seen Everton lift anything other than a pre-season trophy in Seattle or whatever we've lifted. I know that there is no obligation for an Everton team or an Everton club to be successful, but we have to want for more than 16th or 17th in the league. And we probably haven't got the players capable of achieving more at the moment. We absolutely haven't got the manager of achieving more, but try and affect some form of positive change. Try and, I am ready for Everton to take a risk, certainly in the managerial market. And I know that risk is definitely the word, because when you're teetering above the relegation zone like we are, I totally understand why clubs see someone like Dyche and think, well, if we didn't have a Dyche, we'd probably go out and get a very Dacian manager because you sadly you do settle in that way. But for teams who are willing to be a little bit more expansive and a little bit braver than Everton, like a Wolves perhaps, who, you know, we all collectively sit around this table now and look at Wolves getting a point away today and think, you'll be fine.
Ironically, with the manager that we missed out on.
But they'll be fine, won't they? There is no way that Wolves are involved in a relegation scrap in May, because they've got a little bit of faith in the players that they've got, who admittedly are better than ours, but they'll at least try to go out and find a manager who will progress them. And, you know, this season they'll do nothing, obviously, because of where they are now, but they'll build on it next year, and they'll be comfortable mid-table, and then in a couple of years we'll be looking at them and thinking, well, remember when they were down there with us? And in that time, Everton will just stagnate. And that is ultimately what it feels like at the moment, is that the football club just exists. And fans of other teams have known this for years, because they just look at Everton and think, oh, well, they're still here and they'll be here forevermore, and nothing will ever change. But I think Evertonians are probably just starting to get onto it, and certainly from my point of view, just starting to get a little bit bored by the whole thing, because there's no feeling really that everything's going to change in the near future, unless Dan Fryken comes in and wants this enormous overhaul. But again, I get it when new owners come in and think, let's just sit and wait for half a year, but half a year becomes into next season, and then a panic sacking, and then you go and get your Benitez or your Allardyce, and then the whole cycle just repeats itself. And we've seen too many of these cycles now to have the wool pulled over our eyes. We know that a big change is required, but it is ultimately a very brave move to make, isn't it?
That's you. I know you've got to get off now. I mean, I'm just sitting here waiting for you to carry on shaking your head there. Keith, you're desperate for me to come to you here.
You know things are bad when we start post-match with a 7-minute Mosey monologue.
And he's missing the train and everything to do that, you know.
I mean, fair enough, right? I have a lot of bad things to say today, and it's going to feel like harassment at certain times, but I'm going in on Sean Dyche, James Tarkowski and Vitaly Mykolenko. At certain points across the next half an hour to 40 minutes, I will say disgusting things about all of them. I make no apologies for them.
Matt Flush is going to go beyond that with one of them in particular, but we'll get on to that in a minute.
I'll tell you what, I'll start off with a brief intro on James Tarkowski, and then I will let Matt go in, because I know he's sharpened his knives for this. That man is supposed to be a leader. He's supposed to be the club captain in absentia for Seamus Coleman, right? He's a shithouse. He spends 90 minutes every week hiding from responsibility, and at least once in those 90 minutes every single week he will give the ball away or lose control and throw in a shit tackle and get booked. Without fail. What does he bring to this 11? I do not have words for how badly he needs bombing off, because he's crap. He's dreadful. And how bad must Jake O'Brien be in training that we spent 20 million on him and he can't get a game over that crap? And now I will let Matthew have his word on James Tarkowski.
Floor's open, mate.
Yeah, he's no captain of mine. He's utterly pathetic. The way he, like you said, hides from responsibility, constantly makes mistakes. It's no surprise that he's been the mainstay of the season throughout us, conceding goals for fun. But then we've had a few good defensive performances, clean sheets with Branthwaite back. But even in those games, he's had one or two ridiculous errors or lapses of judgment where he's had to be bailed out by Pickford or even Branthwaite. He's supposed to be one of our most experienced players. He's supposed to be our team captain on the pitch. And he abdicates responsibility constantly. There's 3 instances today 2 of them led to goals. The first one, granted, a very good finish by Wood, but he makes half a challenge, and they play head tennis until he just taps it over Pickford. Second one, all he has to do is just side foot to Pickford to clear it. He completely mishits it, underhits it, and they nearly run onto it and score. And the third one, I might need to see an aerial shot of it because I've seen some people put it on Mykolenko, but from where I was sitting at the other end of the pitch, it looked like the ball just sat in front of him for about 15 seconds, and he just watched it and stared at it until Gibbs White ran onto it and then just straight in. Just constantly 2 or 3 times, let's say nothing else of the ridiculous fouls that he gives away on the edge of the box. As soon as they brought on Ward-Prowse, I turned to me down and said, here we go, this is 3-0. Tarkowski's going to give away a stupid foul, and he's going to do what he does as the best dead ball specialist in the whole league. Fortunately, the stupid foul he gave away was about 40 yards out, but he still had one in the tank. And this is a player who's supposed to be very experienced, and it just... I don't want to go on about the Amazon series too much, but I think that exposes the mentality of a fella who he likes being a footballer more than he likes playing football, which I think someone once said about Duncan Ferguson. He likes the image and the lifestyle more than the actual graft of it. And I tell you what, he will be crossing his hairy little mank fingers and his hairy little mank toes in the summer that Branthwaite gets sold. Because if Branthwaite somehow miraculously stays next summer, he's going to be the one on the chopping block. I would get him out the side now. I would get him out the club now. And I would redact it. I'll put Michael Keane back in. I'll put Michael Keane back in the 11 for our next game alongside Branthwaite. I would. I am sick to the back teeth of him. This is not a recent thing. It's been lingering on since the back half of last season. I am just sick to the back teeth of it.
I mean, I've been doing journalism, podcast, the Blue Room's been going for nearly 13 years. And I feel a bit speechless after what he's just said.
I'll back him all the way.
He's not the only one.
I mean, if anyone can't tell, it's really loud in here, so I don't want to accidentally repeat myself or repeat what anyone else has said. But I agree with Matt. James Tarkowski is not my captain. I thought it was really obvious last game that when Seamus came back in, and we kind of started to fall apart when Seamus got taken off. I don't think the team respects James Tarkowski as a player anyway. It's become really apparent. He appears to be a bit of a shithouse, when what we want is someone who's like a brick shithouse. And I've just got no respect for him. However, Sean Dyche keeps playing him, and that's a big issue. Whereas, like, we can see it in the stands, or it's like they don't respect him. He goes into tackle. What didn't surprise me, he was one of the first to get a yellow card today.
Yeah, he was.
Doesn't surprise me. He's a walking yellow card. But he's the captain of the team. You want your captain to be the captain should be setting an example for the rest of the players. And if the captain is not, if the captain's the first one to get a yellow card, what example is he setting to players like Vitaly Mykolenko, like Jared Branthwaite? He's supposed to be, especially if he's supposed to be leading the back line. What's the point?
It was of his own making.
It's
when he tried to charge out of the defence and miscontrolled the ball.
How old is he to be miscontrolling the ball?
32 years old now, isn't he supposed to be sort of in his prime? Former England player, you know.
I mean, in his playing, but to be making rash actions like that, it's not someone. I have my own issues with, like, Seamus as a captain. I think he's a very good captain in terms of his man management on the pitch. Sometimes he's not the best, and I love Seamus.
Yeah.
However, James Tarkowski is not Seamus, and he's certainly not the man who I think should be leading. Not with a performance like today. And like Matt said, it's been going that way since the end of last season, but definitely since the start of this season.
But can I just double check with Maggie, because you had a better view than me from the upper Bullens. It was his fault, the second goal.
I would like to see it again, but I think it was.
It's him and Mykolenko who sort of... It's one of those sorts of things where it looks like they're going to look at each other and like who's going for it, but it's on Tarkowski to go out and get it.
And now we move on to Mykolenko.
He's in the dock as well.
Right.
Part of this, my child.
I feel bad for this
Yeah.
because he's a sweet innocent baby. He's atrocious at football. He's terrified. He does not want to be on the ball, right? His tackling is weak. His decision-making is poor. The second goal, for me, where I'm from, where I'm sat today, comes from him being indecisive. Rather than stepping onto the ball, he stands and watches it. He watches Gibbs White pick it up and then stroke it home. Yes, it's come a little bit from a Tarkowski poor pass, but he should still be decisively taking that ball and doing something with it. He can't tackle, he can't cross, he can't win a header. Why is he still playing? I'll tell you why he's still playing. Because Everton Football Club have failed to recruit a left back in the last 4 fucking years. Right? And this is a failing of the club from top to bottom. They got rid of Luca Dean. For all his faults, Luca Dean, he wasn't the best left back in the world, right? But he was serviceable. They got rid of him, brought in Mikalenko, and in the background we've lost Nkunku, Thierry Small, Leighton Baines is retired.
Robinson as well, who's flying at Fulham.
Robinson flying at Fulham, right? And we have not signed a single left back apart from Mikalenko in that time. What the fuck are they looking at? What is the club, what is the scouting system looking at when they think he is the only recognised left back in our senior squad? Right? Mikalenko's shite, but he's being put in there every week because we have no alternative. What I will say, and I'm going to segue onto a slight positive here. Patterson, when he came on, was very good. Defensively, but also, most importantly, going forward. He overlapped, he put some very good balls into the box. Next week, Bournemouth. Patterson has to start right back.
But he won't.
Ashley Young has to start left back.
But he won't.
Mikalenko should be nowhere near that squad. We know it's not going to happen, but that is 100% what should happen.
I don't think Mikalenko was the worst player on that pitch. Me and Matt Flusk have just rewatched the goal, the second goal. Tarkowski is fully at fault. He stands there. He is the captain, and it's like, I'm sorry.
Let me see this goal.
Yeah,
I need to see this goal.
Tarkowski stands there twice as they run around him. It's not fair. Like, as a captain, as the one who, as a captain, you should be running for the ball all the time. You are the responsibility on that bit. You're the one. This is why Seamus is like. My issue with Seamus is that he's aging out of the squad. He should be ready to pass the baton on. But you can't pass it on to someone like James Tarkowski. No, I can't understand why people would expect to look up to him. I don't think, but he is fully at fault for the second goal.
Yeah, we're just watching it now. You've seen it when you were. I said it was between him and Mikalenko. We're just going through it again here, like he's completely responsible 100% for that goal. Yeah, I mean,
He abdicates responsibility for it.
aside from him, we can probably go through a full list of these players. One for me that got me once again was Decore. Where I just don't understand what he's been asked to do, or what he's incapable of doing. But also, why is there no alternative put in there instead of him?
No, yeah, I mean, having Decore in that position means that we have obviously Gay and Mangala like sort of sitting deep. That has worked for us from a defensive point of view. I think the biggest problem with Decore today was that him and Ndai seem, and even Broja seem to be like rotating positions. And at one point, like Broja's picking the ball up deep on the wing, and Decore's like almost failing to stay on side. I was like, what's he actually doing there? And then the ball will move into the middle, and all of a sudden he runs the other way, and it's like he's running away from the play. There were whole phases of the game where you just didn't see him, and I don't think he was hiding from the ball. I just think there was some kind of wacky tactics going on that just didn't work at all. But that was just nowhere near one of his best performances today. Probably quite damningly not one of his worst either. But I mean, there was a little bit of link-up play on the edge of the box with him and Mangala pushing forward, but I think, Mick Greenall is very much a decorate truther, isn't he? Like, he always likes to bring out that stat about how many games we win with him and win without him. But I think it needs to come to a point where there needs to be someone else there, a new signing maybe, who knows, but there needs to be somebody else that we can, hopefully when you get players back fit again, everyone's forgotten about Jimmy Garner. I don't know if he never existed. Like, everyone's forgot about him, like he never existed, but he's going to be back, second week of January, so maybe once he's fit again, Decore might drop out the side again and we might see a bit more cohesion in that sort of final third attack. But at the moment, it just looks very slapdash, very panicked, slow, as Mo said. By the time he's got the ball like on the edge of the D, there's 3 Forest players around him, and there's just nothing he can do. But like you said, it's far from the worst today. But there wasn't many players who you could say were above average. So,
and I'll ask these guys now, and what of the manager? Because I think you were saying to me then, Everton have gone and got 3 respectful draws against 3 of the top sides in the Premier League, then lost to Forest. If you probably expect to be told there's 3 points in those 4 games, they'd be a win against Forest. That whole mentality changed towards you with Sean Dyche with all this now?
Well, I don't blame him for setting up how he did today. We had to go out there to try and win the game, and I think in his own way he did that. If we'd set up today exactly as we did against City and Chelsea, the groans would have been deafening within the first 10 minutes. But he was criticised for the way he set them out to Southampton, which we ended up losing, obviously. That he set them out just to get a draw against one of the worst sides in the league. So if he set out to just try and get a draw, granted against one of the better sides in the league this season, I think he would have been completely barrack before half time. So I don't blame him for the way that we set up, but I don't think the players have worked on it enough. Like, they didn't really seem to know what they were doing, and we from the stands couldn't tell them what they were trying to do. Like I say, strikers drifting out to the wing at times, and Dye playing 3 different positions. It was all just a bit of a mess, and yet we did create chances. We had 2 pretty decent chances at 0-0. One of them probably should have been a goal from Dye, but if you're asking your only creative player to bury the 1 chance he's had in the first 10 minutes, you're asking quite a lot. And then we got the ball, knocked it around the box when we were 2-0 down. I wouldn't like to say we never looked like scoring, but there was no heroics from the goalie, was there?
It didn't help that every time, almost every time we had a shot on target, it was at the keeper. It sells, isn't it? He caught every ball.
Yeah. Took a long time to have one of those as well, by the way.
But every time, it felt like they've been practicing pass it to the keeper. At Finch Farm this week, not put it through the keeper. Everyone, he just managed to keep collecting his arms. There was no dives for the ball or any scrambles. It felt too easy for their keeper.
Just ask Matt then, where's all this stand, Sean Dyche? Me and you had a short conversation before we started now. The interesting point Matt was making before is, if you took those 3 points from the 4 games we've just had, you'd feel fine if it was the 3 points against Forest, and you're probably going to lose against the other 3. The way it's gone and happened, and we played so appalling. This is the second point I want to get to before we finish. First of all, on Sean Dyche though, has this changed his stance on him whatsoever?
I think, in a way, he's made a rod for his own back with the previous 3 results, because he's got points against 3 of the so-called Big 6. So he's built an expectation there that, we're going to be a bit plucky, we're going to ride our luck, but we're going to defend well, right? He's at home to Nottingham Forest today. I accept they've had a few good results this year, right? They're in a good position in the league. They're not a good football side. They were limited as fuck today, right? They offered very little today going forward. He has shit the bed. That was a coward's performance. That was a coward's team. He's gone out to defend for a 0-0 at home to Nottingham Forest. Right?
I don't think he did. I don't think he went out to defend a 0-0. I just think that we ended up going 1-0 down and they just shut it all down and we were hitting against a brick wall. I don't think we went out for a 0-0 at all there.
So why did we offer nothing offensively until they scored?
We had two good chances and Dye placed one over the bar after cutting inside and going through the entire defence. That should have been 1-0.
We were poor, we were slow, we were ponderous. There was very little going forward, right? In Dye, yeah, he's that little spark that he could do something in midfield. What is Sean Dyche's game plan going forward, other than get the ball to Ndai and hope he does something? Because there's nothing. There is nothing, right? He has not set up a team to win today, in the fucking slightest. And whatever goodwill he's built from those 3 draws against Arsenal, Chelsea, City, and that's a lot of goodwill. And you recall, Dave, I said when we did weekly, I said he's breaking this down in stages now, where he's got games where he has to get a certain number of performances. All that goodwill he's built up over those last 3 games, gone today, evaporated, because that is a fucking coward's performance, right? That is dreadful football, negative football. There was nobody wanted to be on the ball. It seemed like our entire going forward in the first 70 minutes was give the ball to Tarkowski and punt it long, right? And you've got Broja, or Broya, or however pronouncing it, right? Against 2 absolute fucking yard dogs. What's he going to do? Right? And then when that doesn't work, you start playing long balls to Iliman Ndiaye, who's 5'6" with heels on.
Tarkovsky's diagonals now become like infamous, haven't they?
There's nothing, and I don't know where you put the blame. Do you put the blame on the defence for doing that? Do you put the blame on the midfield for not showing for the ball? That's another thing, showing for the ball. I'm going to say this, right? 2-0 down, we had a throw-in level with the edge of their box, and it took Nathan Patterson nearly a full minute to throw the ball in, because not one person moved from where they were stood, right? That is fucking lazy. It is not good enough from professional footballers. Iliman Ndiaye is the same height as me. That's worrying.
You look taller though.
I look taller. I'd win a fucking header. Right. It took him a minute to take a throw in, because not one of our offensive players, sorry to borrow an American term there, moved for the ball, wanted the ball at the feet. They are cowards from 1 to 11, and the manager is a coward as well. And we will not progress the football club until somebody grows a set of fucking balls and tries to win a football match.
I mean, I just want to make sure Keith's all right first.
I'm not. I need therapy.
So there were a couple of players I had issues with today. I don't think we've spoken enough yet about Abdoulaye Doucouré. I know he's better than the way he was today. I worry about Jack Harrison. There was a reason he got pulled off at half-time, and I think we're all well aware of it without having to go into it. The thing for me is, as bad a manager as as boring and defensive as a manager Sean Dyche can be, and I'm someone who loves a bit of park the bus ball, a lot of them players have done exactly the same behaviour for a lot of managers. And I'm not saying Dyche isn't the problem. I'm saying there's more problems than just him. And it's all very well. I've already seen a lot of people on my timeline going, Dyche out, Dyche out, Dyche out. Who else needs to go? Because
all of them, every lad, apart from Jordan Pickford, who is a prince amongst men.
But he let in 2 very easy goals.
Oh, look at the snarl, ain't it? We never do the post-match on YouTube for a reason. There's a few faces going around. Here's the exact reason why.
That was me being mean. I thought he should have done a bit better with the first one.
He overcommitted on the first one. He came too far off his line on the first one. So yeah, fair enough. There is a degree of blame on him for that.
Yeah.
The second one,
no, you're right. That's all Tarkowski's fault.
Second one's a good finish. It's a great finish.
For me, it's more like, so Jordan Pickford can stay. Seamus will never leave. Like when he's 85, we'll still be like propping him up with like a pair of crutches and a Zimmer frame. And I can't think of many other players I'd want to see in Everton's football club next season, and that to me is worrying because a lot of them players have been there for a while. They're doing exactly the same thing they did with Frank Lampard. They're doing exactly the same thing they did against many other managers. Some of them players are
down tools. They're cowards.
But that shouldn't be allowed. If I down tools in work right now, I get sacked.
Yeah.
And this is my issue where manager after manager, season after season, players down tools. There's something rotten in Everton Football Club, and we can't just keep blaming the manager. And my hope is that the Friedkin group literally sit down with every member of the club, from first team Finch Farm to finance to market to everything, and make people fight for their jobs, because this is unsustainable. We are about to go into a brand new stadium. It's our last season at Goodison Park, and I know all of the nostalgia and the sadness and whatever. We are a stagnant football club.
I just knock it down now.
I mean, actually, it's famous. I've got good news. Bird flu is taking off in America right now. So if we can get someone to like cuddle a chicken, then get
Rob
on the plane.
Vader bringing it over.
Can he? Stop the league now. Stop the count.
Do you know the last question I want to ask you both is? You look what we've done away from home there in those two, and everyone's going to emphasise about it. Sean Dyche will emphasise about it. Those 2 away performances against top sides in the league. How big of an issue is Goodison?
Goodison's not an issue.
No, performance-wise, I mean, crowd-wise, is there anything you'd say is an issue?
No, it's the 11 on the pitch. It's not the crowd. The crowd aren't affecting how bad they are at football, right? What Mags has said there about how many of those would you keep brings me on to a serious subject, the January transfer window, right? There's 2 things I do in the January, well, 2.5, because one of them's directly linked. Number 1, you go out, you offer Leon a fee for Oriel Mangala, and you make it permanent, because he is the one shining positive about our outfield 11 at the moment, right? Number 2 is you send Jack Harrison back to Leeds, right? That then frees up 2 loan spaces, with which you go out, you get a left back, because for the love of God I can't watch another Mikalenko performance. The other one, you bring in a winger who can, 1, cross the ball, and 2, beat a fullback, because we haven't had one since, I don't know, fucking Peter Beardsley, who knows? Adrian Heath. We haven't had a winger that can beat a fullback in years. So bring one in, right?
Simple as that. Easy.
I've gone a bit Football Manager there. Maybe we need to bring in. What is it I'm bringing in midfield? Is it a ball we need to bring in a ball manipulator, as described on Twitter today.
Please don't use that term again.
We need to bring in someone to manipulate the balls, apparently. and a progressive defensive something. I don't fucking know. Bring in a yard dog, bring in a wing of the King Cross. I don't know. I'm fucking done with it. Just get me to May.
Christmas is over.
Mate, just get me to May. Get this season done.
An output solidity. We need an output plus solidity on the wings, whatever one of them is.
Who's he play for? Whose output solidity play for, and how much is he signing for?
Football manager for Christmas for you then, hopefully.
There are very few positives we can scrape from today. Patterson looked alright when he came on. Broja looked alright holding the ball up. Never had a shot. Who knows? Just, I don't know. Surely the Freakins have watched that and seen the same thing we have. Because a lot needs to change.
Colleen Mooney was there as well today.
Was she?
Yeah.
And she never even won Queen of the Jungle.
Exactly. She would have Goodison.
Shite bag.
The way
Again.
Tarkovsky was belting them balls diagonally, they're probably in the market for a fucking wide receiver now.
Loads of references to Rob Vader, who's over, I think, in the UK, soon to come. Hopefully he brings bird flu, like Maggie was saying then. Hopefully he brings a better opinion than all of us about certain players we want to go sign.
My one hope from today is the audio from this post-match is unlistenable because of the pub noise, and we can just fuck it off for a week.
Well, that's a great indictment of how the Blue Room is, listening across the festive period right there. We'll leave it there. We hope you enjoyed your Christmas. You certainly won't enjoy your New Year, given how Everton performed in that 2-0 defeat at home to Nottingham Forest. Not for a few days. Notts Forest. Second place in the league, Notts Forest. Thanks as always for listening. Stick with us as you always do. And hope you've had Happy New Year to everyone. Won't be a happy listen to this, but we go on as we usually do. Everton back after New Year in 2025. Let's hope things get better. Up the Toffees.